And after you do your mathematics, we have this following results. Okay, so among the five, di ba, we know that the population mean is 368 grams. So among the five sample mean, only one uh, only one interval, no, only one confidence interval that does not include the true population mean. Okay, so what does it mean? So in this example, we can say that not all the time, not all the time, the correct or the exact population parameter, for example, the population mean, is really within our confidence interval. It's not all the time, but there is a room for mistake. But in this case, in example number one, we use the 95% confidence, diba? We use the 95% confidence. So we allotted 5% for the possible error. Okay. Thus, for samples, the interval estimate for the population mean is correct. But for others, it is incorrect. So in practice, only one sample is selected. And because the population mean is unknown, you cannot determine whether the interval estimate is correct. So to resolve this problem of sometimes having an interval that provides a correct estimate and sometimes having an interval that does not, you need to determine the proportion of samples producing intervals that result in correct statements about the population mean. Okay, so in this case, in practice, you select only one sample of size n, and the standard deviation is unknown. So you never know for sure whether your specific interval includes the population mean. Okay, in the actual case, we use only one sample, and in reality, in this case, we know that the population mean is 368, but in real life, we never know. So uh, how will we know, or how sure we can be that our estimate, or our interval estimate, contain the real population parameter, like the population mean? So if you take all possible samples of n and compute their 95% confidence intervals, then 95% of the intervals will include the population mean and 5% of them will not. So that happened in our example number one. So not all the time that the uh, the interval contains the real population parameter, but at least we know how much confidence we have that in the interval that we are going to calculate, how confident we are that it include the real population parameter. So in that case, in our case here, so 95% of intervals include the population mean and only 5% of them will not. In other words, you have 95% confidence that the population mean is somewhere in your interval. So mas state siya i-conclude. Okay? The statement is much more accurate and the statement is much more safe. Okay, 'di ba? In our previous example, our confidence interval for letter A, we have 300. If I forgot now the exact value, that is around 356 to 368.18. Katotong i-calculate earlier ba? So if we're going to interpret that one, then you can say that with 95% confidence, mo pag-state, with 95% confidence, the population mean is within the interval of 356 56 grams to 368.18 grams. Okay, the statement is much more accurate and much more safe. So that is the importance why we need to prepare confidence interval. So this is a supplement also, of using the point estimate as an estimator of the population parameter. Okay, so let's have example number 2. So allow me to read the situation. So filling orders consist of several steps, including receiving an order, picking the parts of the order, checking the order, packing, and shipping the order. So the file contains the time in minutes to fill orders for a population of 200 orders on a recent day. Although in practice, the population characteristics are rarely known, for this population of orders, the population mean is known to be equal to 69.637 minutes. And the standard deviation is known to be equal to 10.411 minutes. And the population is normally distributed. So, to illustrate how the sample mean and sample standard deviation vary from one sample to another, 20 different samples of n equals 10 were selected from the population of 200 orders. And the sample mean and sample standard deviation were calculated for each sample. Okay, using those given, we are going to create a confidence interval. Okay, so after the calculation, so the computer can easily, and softwares can easily calculate for those figures. So if we can observe, so among the 20 samples here, the mean vary from one sample to another. Even the standard deviation vary from one another. Even the range vary from one sample to another, and so with the confidence interval. So from sample to sample, it varies. Okay, so the sample statistics differ from sample to sample. So the sample means vary from 61.10 to 76.26 minutes. Then the sample standard deviation vary from 6.5 to 14.10 minutes. And the sample median vary from 59.70 to 80.60 minutes. And the sample ranges vary from 21.50 to 41.60 minutes. Obviously, all statistics varies, diba? From sample to another. And some of the sample means are greater than the population mean of 69.673 minutes, and some of the sample means are less than the population mean. It's highly variable. So that is for 20 samples. Then some of the sample standard deviations are greater than the population standard deviation. So there are values above the standard deviation, the value, and some are below the standard deviation value. And some of the standard deviation are less than the population standard deviation. And the variation in the sample ranges is much more than the variation in the sample standard deviation. So what is the point there? So the point there is that the variation of sample statistic from sample to sample is called sampling error. Okay, again, the variation of the sample statistics, the sample mean, the sample standard deviation, the sample range, and the like. So the variation from sample to another sample is what we call as sampling error. And if you can still remember, we already discussed on, or we already touched and tackled what is sampling error in our previous chapter in sampling and sampling distribution. So again, this sampling error pertains to the variation of a sample statistic, the sample statistic from a sample to another sample. Okay. Sampling error is the variation that occurs due to selecting a single sample from the population. So the size of the sampling error is primarily based on the amount of variation in the population on the sample size. So large samples have less sampling error than small samples, but large samples cost more to select. So like in our discussion in the previous chapter, we can reduce this sampling error by increasing the sample size. Okay? As we increase the sample size or the number of samples, we reduce the variation. We reduce the variation and then we reduce the sampling error. And our estimate is much more closer to the real estimate of the population. But the consequence is that as we increase the number of samples, it entails or we can increase in cost. So that is something that we have to balance. Okay. In some situations, you might want to have a higher degree of confidence of including the population mean within the interval, such as 99%. Diba? In our example, our level of confidence is 95%. So maybe you wish that you increase the level of confidence to even 99%. But in some other cases, you might accept less confidence, such as 90% of correctly estimating the population mean. So actually, it depends upon you. If you're very conservative, so you go for higher level of confidence. But if you are more lenient, no, maybe you're going to use 90%. But most of the time, what is the level of confidence that being used for many studies is 95% confidence. Okay, 95%. So in general, the level of confidence is symbolized by 1 minus alpha. Okay, 1 minus alpha, if you can see that symbol 1 minus alpha, that pertains to the level of confidence, where alpha is the proportion in the tails of the distribution that is outside the confidence interval. Or this alpha can also pertain to the sampling error, 5%. So for the sampling error, that is, if you have a sampling error of 5%, therefore the level of confidence is 95%. Okay, meaning if you reduce, as you reduce the sampling error, let us say you reduce the sampling error to 1%, it means that your level of confidence is how much? It is correct, that is 99%. But if you want to increase the sampling error to 10%, therefore the level of confidence is 90%. So that is inana ang pamaagi. Okay, so the proportion in the upper tail of the distribution is alpha divided by 2, and the proportion in the lower tail of the distribution is alpha divided by 2. So in the previous formula and the succeeding formula, you can usually see there the alpha divided by 2. So as I explained earlier, that is alpha divided by 2 because the critical value alpha is, we are going to divide that into 2. Diba? We are assuming a normal distribution. So that 5% will be divided into half. Half to the upper tail and half to the lower tail. Okay. So for example, if you have a critical value of 5% or a sampling error of 5%, so 2.5% will be on the upper tail and 2.5% on the lower tail. Okay,